My name is Tyler Fornes, and I am one of the co-hosts of the Good, the Bad, and the Hungy AEW podcast here on the Voice of Wrestling Podcasting Network. We take a broad scope approach to the world of All Elite Wrestling and the entire universe of Tony Khan. We talk about the big matches, the big stars, the promos, the storylines, and we also look at it from a big picture perspective. How are things going to change over the course of the next 10 years with AEW still in the picture? How are companies like WWE going to adapt and adjust to AEW? Are they going to be a similar way like they did with WCW in the late 1990s? Will there be a counterpunch? We talk about all of that and more on The Good, the Bad, and the Hungy every week on the Voice of Wrestling Network.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
This podcast is a member of the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network. Visit voicesofwrestling.com to hear the rest of our great podcasts, as well as show reviews, columns, opinions, and updates across the world of wrestling.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Super J-Cast. I'm Joel, joined by Damon McDonald. It is Tuesday, 14th of July, 2026. This is episode 417. Damon, how are you feeling back from your big weekend in Chicago?
It was great. Yep, back. Got some sleep. Flights were good, not a bump in the sky. And yeah, it was a pretty epic weekend for sure. Riding the waves of that much fun. I know I always... when I have these things and then I get back, I kind of like, oh, it's so decompressing that I just go into a tailspin. But so far, so good. And yeah, we have plenty of New Japan Pro Wrestling to talk about because, as I don't know if you know, I think you feel the same way. The vibes are high and we're so back, baby.
Yes, this is maybe the third "we're so back" moment of 2026, and admittedly, it's not a clean upward trajectory. We're having some peaks and some troughs, but absolutely, it feels like the vibes after that Chicago show, which, of course, I wasn't there live, but just everyone. I don't know anyone who went to that show and came back saying, that was all right. Everyone is just like, that was fucking incredible, like the best New Japan show I've ever seen live. Like, this is people who've been to some, serious Wrestle Kingdom events,
yeah,
with momentous stuff happening, like some all-timer stuff, but came away from that Chicago show thinking that was the best thing that they'd ever seen live, which is sensational.
I'm in that camp, and I said it right after the show. And again, if you're a Patreon member, as you should be, I can't imagine not.
Sorry,
dropping.
What, Damon? We have a Patreon. This is news to me. Tell me more.
Well, let me tell you, this is the time to get in because it's G1 season. So not only are you going to get daily audio for each and every G1 show as soon as possible, or right on after. So the takes will be fresh. You don't have to wait. You don't got to wait a week. You're going to get them right hot out of the oven. The Discord deli is going to be jumping, I'm sure. It already is, and it has been for many a month and many a year. This is the time. It's a big news, big events, big everything. All the bonus audio, $10 a month. That's again, I always like to say I don't like to spend people's money, but my God, if you listen to this, $10, well worth it, and I guarantee you'll renew. So I get on it. Patreon.com/SuperJcast. Find us, just search for us. We're there. And get involved. It's so much stuff. Like I don't even know half the stuff probably.
I mean, this week alone, subscribers would have got 3 great bits of content. So first of all, they're getting this podcast live. They're getting the live stream on YouTube. And if they're not able to make it live, then they're getting an audio drop of it exclusive way before it goes out on the public feed. Because let's be honest, the speed at which the audio gets up on the public Voices of Wrestling feed, not the best.
Not the best.
Not the best. Not pointing any fingers there. It's a team effort.
People have lives. People have lives. I understand.
Yeah, sure. But I mean, the actual G1 Climax Night 1 preview that we did, you would have got that as an actual preview before that G1 Climax event took place. So imagine that. I mean, bonus.
Yeah.
So we're having that. So yeah, you can also join us on YouTube. Come on the YouTube stream, interact with us, send us funny comments or abuse or death threats, whatever you like. It's your choice. You've paid your money. You can say what you like to us. You would have also got my audio review of G1 Climax Night 1, which, let's not undersell this, Damon. I'm going to the WhatsApp. Your exact words for that was, I'm trying to find it here.
Bring it up.
Where's it gone?
I believe it was something along the lines of, G1...
not along the line. We want exactly what it is.
All right, Louis, I don't have my phone with me.
Dude, your review was so fucking outstanding.
That's it.
Now, not my... That's your words, Damon. Now, 2 things here. One, you're obviously outing yourself as not having listened to the audio I did last year in the G1 Climax, because what I did for Night 1 was at the same level. It's consistently outstanding. Every night is outstanding, right? So you think G1 Night 1 in Chicago is outstanding, which it is, right? No one is doing this reaction audio at the level that I'm doing. Possibly Joshua and WeWork Stiff. His Night 1 stuff was really, really good. So I'll say the two of us are up there, but certainly there's no one else doing it on the level of us. The insight, the analysis. Again, I'm not giving you move by move recaps. Oh, then he did a lariat and then he slammed him and it was nice and good and I liked it. No, I'm contextualizing stuff, the bigger picture stuff. I'm tracking the stories as they go through. I'm giving the kind of razor sharp analysis that not many people can. Very few people can. I'd say 2 people can, possibly 3, who talk about New Japan Pro Wrestling. And you're going to get that after every single show. If not from me, then from Damon, right? That is, it's the best in the business. So that alone by itself is worth the price of entry. So there's that. And also, $10 subscribers are going to get your outstanding 20-minute long video log of your trip to Chicago. And watching that, Damon, just absolutely warmed my heart. And we're going to get into it later, and talk about the events that made that. But honestly, I think that's a really special bit of content there that I think you and other people who attended are going to look back on and watch years and years from now, because I think it's a really just an excellent encapsulation of what was just a magical weekend that brought a lot of people together from all walks of life and just was an unforgettable experience. And the way you were able to capture that, really capture the essence of all those different events, the parties and the meetups and the show itself, and just even the interstitial bits of the journey, going through the airport and the delicious food that you ate. It was, honestly, Damon, it was better than most of the video log stuff that I watch these days. I watch quite a lot of it on YouTube, Broad in Japan and Mark Wiens and all these fucking idiots who walk around with a camera and document stuff that they did and stuff that they ate. But yours, honestly, it was better than that because it was authentic. You weren't sort of mugging to the camera and hyping stuff up to try and pass it off as more than the sum of its parts. Like it was real, and I felt obviously gutted that I couldn't be there, but I felt like I was there. I felt like I had just a little taste of what it would have been like to be there on that weekend. So again, worth the price of entry alone. That video log, I'm not selling that. I'm not putting a price on that so people can buy it individually. No, you get your fucking wallet out, you sign up to the $10 tier, and then you're going to get that. You're going to get the nightly audio reviews and who knows what else good shit is going to go up there. So if you're not subscribed, stop, pause the podcast. You're not allowed to listen to any more, you freeloader. Stop it now. Go on patreon.com/SuperJcast and do it as a favor to yourself, not just to us. Obviously, we want your money, but if you like New Japan Pro Wrestling and you're listening to this, why would you not subscribe to the Patreon? I don't understand. Don't give me, it's expensive, cost of living. Bullshit. It's not that. This is cheap. We're underselling it, if anything.
I agree.
In fact, I'm going to go double the price of it. I'm changing it to $20 tier, Dame. Stop me. Try and stop me from doing this, because I've got my finger hovering over it now, changing it to $20, because that I think even that's underselling it. It's worth double that.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you very much for those kind words. I did. That was my goal. Like, I think, again, I can't record the actual wrestling. I mean, I could have, but I'm trying to play by the rules a little bit. But I just
we
wanted
don't need
to
see that. We can watch the wrestling on New Japan World.
Right.
You captured
exactly
everything that needed to be captured.
I hope so. I mean, there was some stuff that I had to put on the cutting room floor, in the sense of there was the Culver's food review. So I go and I talk about like what I thought of the Culver's and everything, and kind of broke down what worked and maybe where it ranks and all that kind of nonsense. But there was food on the corner of my mouth, and it was so gross. I didn't want to include it, because it was just this hunk of, I don't know what it was, some kind of sauce on the side of my mouth that I didn't know was there. So I couldn't put it in. But yeah, like, I just kind of wanted to give people a little smidge, a little taste of what that might look like from my perspective, and that weekend. And I think the one thing I wanted to hammer home was just the idea of people getting together and sharing that common bond, and taking out the technology of it. Like, it was very, dare I say, minus me walking around with a fucking camera, very low tech, and very, like, nobody's really pounding away on their phones. Nobody's really interacting online. Like, everybody was in the moment, and everyone was enjoying each other's company and laughing and having a good time and busting balls. And like, I that might have been the most enjoyable part, over and above like what I thought was, again, from a live New Japan perspective that I've attended, maybe my favorite show. So I'm glad it worked. I don't know what opportunities I'll have to do something like that again. I hope to have lots more. Like, could you imagine you going to every show that we possibly can and filming? Well, okay, we need money to do that.
I want you to take that camera every time you go for a meal out. I want to see Damon's food reviews as a regular thing on the Patreon. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, if it's popular enough, I can make that work. But do you know what I mean? Like I feel like that is, again, we're all watching the wrestling, but let's show the idea of, here's the common bond that intertwines all of us, all coming from different backgrounds, all traveling and driving from so many different states and countries just for this show. And I think that's one thing that gets lost. Like, the passion is still there for a ton of people. The passion is still there to make people drive 11 hours, 12 hours, 10 hours, whatever the case may, fly, invest financially. And for some reason, I don't know if New Japan itself capitalizes on that and uses that to their advantage. Like, people will travel for them if they deliver on a product that people want to travel for. And people gambled and took a chance, and I think it paid off. And I'm hoping that the weekend and the camaraderie that we all shared came across on those videos. So I'm glad people are enjoying it. $10 tier. If you want to see me be very awkward in front of a video camera, by all means, it's worth $10 to me.
So we'll, of course, circle back to Chicago at some point. Can I crowbar in a little bit of World Cup talk?
Absolutely. Listen, first of all, congratulations. And second of all, you got to be a little nervous tomorrow, aren't you? You got to be a squeaky bum time. If I'm not mistaken, this is what we call it. So, yeah, go ahead. Rock and roll. The floor is yours.
So, of course, we're in a semi-final, World Cup semi-final against Argentina. This has got to be the biggest England match, certainly in my lifetime. I mean, we were in the World Cup semi-final against Croatia in 2018, but the team wasn't actually that good then. Like, it felt like we'd sort of been riding our luck and reached the end of what that team was capable of. But in terms of where we are now and what the potential of this team is, and the rivalry with Argentina. So, of course, very famously, quarterfinal in 1986, we got eliminated by Diego Maradona's hand of God, and just an unbelievable all-timer goal from him at the Azteca Stadium in Mexico. Then 1998, we got eliminated in a round of 16 against Argentina with the famous incident where David Beckham just kicked his leg out and Diego Simeone made an absolute meal of it and Beckham got sent off, and we played a big chunk of that match with 10 men, lost on penalties, and David Beckham absolutely vilified after that. And then World Cup 2002, where we met again in the group stage and we beat them 1-0 and David Beckham got his redemption, 1-0 win through a penalty. So the history there, and of course all the geopolitical history with the Falkland Islands or Malvinas, depending on what you're calling it. And I think I do suspect sort of that geopolitical aspect of it means a lot more to Argentina fans than it does England fans. I don't think England fans, I could be off base here. I don't think England fans really are thinking about the Falkland Islands or care about that. I think to us, it's just a massive football match and a great footballing rivalry. So there's so much going into this. And it's an Argentina team that I feel have been riding their luck at times, and Messi's been carrying them at times. And they've got other really good players as well, like Julian Alvarez scored an outstanding goal. But there's a lot of whispers that this is a team that have been not only carried by Messi, but by some dodgy FIFA refereeing decisions. And you can tell, you've seen the footage of FIFA President Gianni Infantino when goals have been scored against Argentina. Like when Egypt scored their second goal against Argentina, and he's like got his head in his hands, like, oh fuck, this is my golden goose. Like he really, really wants Lionel Messi in that tournament as long as he can. Like Messi's his little. I was going to say a very insulting term there, but yeah, there's got golden goose. Let's stick with that. That's a bit more of a diplomatic term. So there's a lot of fears amongst England fans that the referees are going to be out to get them, and there's going to be some shenanigans. Now, that said, I think they had the opportunity to do that against when we were playing Norway, because we had a host of players that were already on the verge of suspension. So had they received yellow cards against Norway, they would have been suspended against Argentina. Now, none of those players got booked. So I don't, you could either chalk that down to being an extremely disciplined performance by England to not let that happen, or, maybe sort of throw a bit of water onto the conspiracy fires. But whatever way you slice it, this is an unbelievably big game for both countries. And it's really finely poised. I kind of feel England are probably favourites in terms of actual, man for man, the England 11 against the Argentina 11. But just the stature of the game and the prestige of it and what's at stake is enormous to me. Like, again, if I'm trying to contextualize it, probably the biggest since we played West Germany in 1990. Again, I was 3 years old at the time, so I have no memory of it. But again, the rivalry is there, and the status there of, again, playing in a World Cup semi-final. And we've been in 2 European Championship finals, but I'm sorry, Portugal fans, like a European Championship is not on the level of a World Cup. So we're on the precipice of something really big here. Now, hand on heart, I could see us beating Argentina. I think we could beat Argentina. Dare I say we should beat Argentina? I think if we play to our best, then we are better than them, right? I think we can beat them. But when it comes down to this stage of a World Cup, it's not always necessarily the best team that wins. We've played really poorly against teams and won, and we've also played really well against teams and lost. Like we played France in the quarterfinals in 2022. I thought we were outstanding in that match, but we still ended up losing. So you need a bit of luck on the day as well as performing well. So that one, it almost feels like a coin toss. But I think, I hate to use the cliche of, pressure is a privilege, but it is. I mean, what a treat to be able to have that England-Argentina World Cup semi-final to look forward to tomorrow, just to be in that conversation, to be in the room. Because, in my lifetime, England have gone through some absolute slumps where like Euro 2008, we didn't even qualify for that.
That's what I'm saying.
Euro 2016 getting eliminated by Iceland. World Cup 2014 didn't even make it out of the group stage. So I'm not taking this for granted at all. I'm just delighted that we're there. Just being in the semi-final itself is fantastic. I'm really excited for the game. I'll be watching it at the Bobby Tracy Football Club with my friend Andrew, and I'll take Mally and the children as well. So just a wonderful event, and I hope some more great memories to be made. And it looks at the time as we record this statement, so it's Spain 2, France 0. So it does look almost certain that, barring a big comeback from France, who kind of lost their heads a bit here, it's going to be Spain in the final. And England played against Spain in the final of Euro 2024 2 years ago, and they narrowly beat us 2-1. So if we do beat Argentina, which obviously we're not taking as a given, we are looking at the possibility of another international final rematch with Spain. Now, Spain have looked really good here. Like Dani Olmo in particular has been absolutely outstanding with the link-up play. Some of the passing and the moving has been elite. But I mean, yeah, just the chance to have another crack at Spain, maybe get revenge from 2 years ago. It's an exciting time, Damon. I thought I was all done with my football excitement and enthusiasm after Arsenal winning the league and then losing in the Champions League final. I'm not sure I could take losing another final. If I go through the space of a couple of months with Arsenal losing the Champions League final and England losing the World Cup final, that would seem cruel. Like, I think I'd almost rather we just lost the semi-final at that point rather than having to go through that. I mean, imagine like if we lost on penalties, my brain would be on Mars, Damon. You'd find me floating down the River Dart. Not sure I could. I want that to happen, but hey, this is what football's all about, isn't it?
It is, and that's what sports is all about. And yeah, to be in the position that you are in is, to, like you said, that it's fun, exciting, but also nerve-wracking, and takes you feels like years off your life. Yeah, what a summer! What a summer for you. It's been quite a ride. What was I mean, the last time England's won a World Cup, I mean, there was probably like 7 countries in the entire earth, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, that's look, you're in the dance. I would think that you would want to see Spain as opposed to France. I'm assuming. Again, we're talking about an Argentinian team that, let's be honest here, I mean, they haven't played well, and you're hoping that they continue to not play as well, and maybe it's a team that has, maybe aged, maybe has gotten to the point where it's, just not a cohesive unit enough to beat a team that is cohesive. Yeah, it's a good spot to be in. So, yeah, I kept checking on updates while I was there, and yeah, it's a good finish for you. I was happy for you. I was happy for everybody over there, all the peeps I know over there. So, look, we'll be rooting for you tomorrow. That's for sure. And then it's even more squeaky bum time. So, and then the finals, correct me if I'm wrong, is in New York, right? Or Jersey. It's in MetLife, right?
Yes, I believe so. Yeah, Sunday, 8:00 our time. Yeah, depending on how things go, maybe there might be a bit more Patreon bonus audio. Oh, I forgot as well. I'm scheduled to do a G1 draft / G1 preview with Josh from We Work Stiff as well. So no doubt that's going to find its way to the Patreon. So again, no reason not to be on board with that, because even now I've just thrown 2 more probable / definite bits of audio coming your way. But yeah, exciting times. England, Argentina. Love it.
Good luck to you. And again, speaking of stuff lined up in the pipeline, I have a plethora of unmasked potential interviews, so we'll have more of those coming. I know people enjoy those.
Could they all just be Joe Lanza, please? Because he made a tremendous amount of money for us.
I'm not going to lie. For the people and I told everybody that went to that meetup at the Hideaway Brewery, I was like, the Patreon money paid for this, and a lot of that was Joe. So maybe, maybe we have him on for round 2. That'd be nice. But yes, excellent job by everybody there. So Patreon, sign up, $10. It's It's time for you. It's time for you to do it. Dust it off. I know you've been thinking about it. And here's the thing too. I want to reinvest in the show and do different things and do different fun things and have different guests and go to different events that maybe I wasn't able to before. Maybe the Patreon could be a nice vehicle for that. So know that your money is not just going to a beer fund for me. It's for everybody. So everyone will benefit, hopefully. So yes. Okay. All right. There we go. Busy show. Take us where you want to go first, Joe.
Okay, just one thing before we get into this G1 show.
Yes.
There was some news doing the rounds about some comments made by Kidani about Yota Tsuji, right? And I asked someone to explain it to me because I didn't really understand it. So apparently, again, there's people from the Discord who explained it to me. Kidani, this might be completely off base. Kidani did an interview with Playboy saying that Tsuji's comments on New Beginning. So remember, around New Beginning time, Yota Tsuji was making comments.
The card company. Yeah.
Yes. He was saying like, we are human beings. We're putting our body and our lives on the line every day. We're not fucking cards, right? You treat us with respect. We're getting underappreciated. We're undervalued by this company, and you need to do something about it. So apparently, those comments from Tsuji really upset Kidani and made him sell the company earlier than he planned to. So he said specifically that he couldn't sleep that night because he was so upset by what Tsuji said.
Really?
And he said Kidani said it wasn't fair that he put so much effort into wrestling and the wrestlers didn't like him. So can we get a fruit basket for Yota Tsuji? Because that's fucking beast.
Seriously, if that's all it took, I'm sure there are at least 10 to 20 wrestlers that would have signed up and done a personalized video of themselves. I found that to be highly, dare I say, bullshit. It's like, I mean, a pro wrestler who has been in the driver's seat of this company a very short amount of time. This is not like this was Tanahashi. This was not like this was Okada. And even then, I don't really think it would have mattered. Like his comments made him he had to sell. Come on, really? That's all it took?
Damon, a lot of people are calling Yota Tsuji the CM Punk of the Reiwa era.
Oh, sure. Wow.
In a good way, not in a sort of hypocrite, sellout, piss baby way.
All right. Well, I found those and people kind of explaining it. Some were Japanese that were tweeting and some that were English kind of translate. It really felt like, really? that was you're gonna put the onus on him for that comment. I don't know. It seemed a little far fetched to me, to be honest with you.
We're building a serious goat case for Yota Tsuji here. So going up to Kazuchika Okada's face, getting in his face and telling him he's a disappointment for the way you left the company when no one else had the guts to do that during the when he was him and his mates wanking each other off with a chaos nonsense. Getting Will Ospreay so upset that he's arguing with randos on Twitter on his honeymoon the night after his wedding. He can't get off his phone because Tsuji's upset him so much, and now rage bait Kidani into actually selling the entire company, which is what people have been on their knees begging for years. So, what else does this man need? I don't want to hear anything more about he's wrestling or he did too many moves here. No, this guy is single-handedly saving the company.
He's a savior. Yeah. In 5 years, we'll look back at this time and say, wow, what a legend. I'm doing it now, quite honestly. Here's the thing. While, again, you take everything that a pro wrestler says with a liberal pinch of salt, it is somewhat refreshing that he is kind of saying his thing. Do I believe?
Yeah, no one's telling him to say this. He's not having his scripts written for him. He's just saying the quiet parts out loud, and I love it.
Exactly. Yep, me too. Now, does that mean that he has any power, say, or whatever to say, I'm not wrestling on this particular show? if you believe that, I got a bridge in fucking Brooklyn. I'd love to sell you. Again, take everything with a pinch of salt and understand. Again, not everything has to be a work. Not everything has to be a shoot. He's speaking his mind. He's speaking his feelings. I'm sure he feels these things, but whether that manifests into reality is a completely different thing. And I think this Kadani interview is just like preposterous, to be quite honest with you. That he had any factor with stop it. He kept him up at night. Well, okay, take an Ambien and go to fuck to bed, please.
All right, well, that was all of the non-G1 related news. Let's just get straight into it then. You had a lovely time, as we've touched on. Talk us through the events that led up to you actually arriving at the arena and all the lovely experiences you had and people you met, because I think that's a very important part of this journey.
Yeah, so again, it was a quick weekend. Flew in Friday, and we had the meetup. And again, John Carroll, great person, brought along somebody who every time I looked at him, I was like, "That's my brother. He looks like my brother." And we exchanged brother stories. And Suit Williams, what a guy. Can I just jump in and speak in defense of Suit? Because for some reason, a lot of people on the Super J-Cast Discord have got a massive hate boner for this guy because of his wrestling opinions. Because of his wrestling opinions, right? Okay. And whatever, like you can disagree with someone's wrestling opinions, but he is such a nice guy, like a genuinely real life nice dude. So I've got to stick up for him here because I like Suit Williams. I don't care who knows about it. Me too. Well, look, and what I found most impressive was not only the way that he carries himself, but he's in his 20s. You know, like that was impressive to me. Humble yet confident, and like I was just really kind of blown away by Suit. Boy, who else? Who else can we put over?
The person who said that my Despy Hiromu.
Oh my god! Oh, thank you. Sometimes you have to leave
his love of wrestling.
This and I'm terrible with names, and my apologies. Guy and his friend drove up from Alabama, 11 hours drove up, came to this meetup, and he pulls me aside and he's like, "Damon, I need to tell you that the show has helped me enjoy this product so much more." And he specifically mentioned you and your, I'm not going to say rant. It was just a beautiful piece of audio talking about Despy and Hiromu and the match and the mask and being torn off, and yet he didn't need him. And like he's going on and describing all these things that I was like, wow. I mean, it really stuck with him so much. And he's like, that was like one of the most the thing that has stuck with him the most in his time watching New Japan. And I was like, that is really incredible. The fact that we once again, what was it? Is it Factory Direct? RV,
man. Incredible. What cameo.
I was blown away. And what's weird was it was at Chris Sampson. Chris Sampson had a cookout before G1 on Saturday, and he was there. And you know, I didn't know him, but you know, we were just kind of in the same backyard, and you know, just kind of hanging out. And he goes, "Damon, my name's, but you might know me as." The Factory Direct guy, and I was like, "Holy shit!" I couldn't believe it. That was an amazing time. And again, for new listeners, if you go back into the archives, he asked questions as we usually take on the show and do our best to answer. And he asked a couple questions, and it turned into a bit. You know, we gave him like just ridiculous live read almost of his RV and He doesn't work there anymore. He let me know, and he says, you know, my time there wasn't the most fun, but that made it enjoyable. Listening to the show and having those shout outs made that what he was described as a miserable job so much more enjoyable. So that was great. So again, Friday we had the meetup. Hoffman Estates is a good 30 minutes from O'Hare Airport. And Chicago would be like if you're taking O'Hare as the center point, Chicago's the other way, 30 minutes. So from the loop, from the center of Chicago, it's a good 45-minute, close, depending upon traffic, could be an hour drive, right? So from a convenience factor, and I know it's, you know, other promotions run there, and they do have other events, but it's quite a choice. That said, so I'll fast forward a little bit to Saturday. First of all, the Samsa cookout was great. Chris Samsa is just what a great dude. Like the way he opened him and his wife, the way that they opened up his home to all us lunatics for a couple of hours. And let me tell you something: the dude can cook some fucking barbecue, dude.
That's what I was going to ask. It looked delicious. I want to know what were the tastiest things they cooked up.
The mac and cheese was banging. The ribs were outstanding. Like, you know how like you go to someone's backyard barbecue and you're always worried a little bit, like, am I going to catch fucking salmonella poisoning? Like, is this food going to be rancid? Is this going to be? And not that I was thinking that going in, because people had already raved about it before. But you know, you just kind of like, okay, you know, let's see what we got. It was delicious. Pulled pork sandwiches, unbelievable. Like I couldn't eat everything there. It was just great. And here's once again, the other thing, the people there. Rich Craich. Let's talk a little bit about Rich Craich. Unbelievable. Just like, okay, so you know how he comes across on the show, the flagship. It's that plus even more kind of laid back, like just like a guy that you want to hang out with. Oh my god, what is it? It's not. And I'll talk about the keeping it strong style component, but what's the other strong style? I'm sorry, help me out here.
Speaking of strong style,
Jeremy, yes, great guy. You know, and again, I get it. It's like when you're first walking up to something like this, and you're like, all right, I'm going to commit. And the hardest part, as I said while I was there, is like, you know, coming to these things, it's like the hardest part is putting on the pants and the shoes and going. You know what I mean? Because it's very easy to be like, I don't know, you know, I don't know any of these people, and what am I going to do? And trust me, I've been there and I've done that. I know it. I know that fucking feeling. Imagine the feeling of organizing something and getting there and having a panic attack thinking nobody's going to show up. Like, I'm going to be the only one here. I know it. But then, you know, he was the first person to show up. And what a great guy. What a fun dude. God, I'm trying to think of like so many people were great. Like, and I know I'm missing people and I apologize. But again, keeping it strong style.
If Damon's missed you out, then you failed to make an impression. So
no, that's not true at all. It's not true at all. It's not true at all. But again, keeping it strong style, Jeremy was you know, awesome as always. And it's hard because you're trying to, because he was staying in the center of Chicago. So it was hard. Like it's, you know, it's, you can't, I don't expect anyone to drive a fucking hour to get, you know, especially when you got plans and he was seeing shows. I was like, dude, don't sweat it. We'll catch up. We'll catch up tomorrow. Oh God, Andrew Rich. Andrew Rich is maybe my favorite person on God's green earth. Like he is so, like I don't know. Like I feel like we are kindred spirits in the sense of he knows when my battery is low, and he doesn't feel the need to just do idle chit chat when it's, you know what I mean? Like we sat there next to each other for a good 15 minutes and probably didn't say a word to each other. And then he'll just pipe in,
just give you a gentle, reassuring squeeze of the hands, lovingly in your eyes, and just the silence is comfortable.
But then he just goes, "You want to hear a joke?" Just out of the blue, he goes, "You want to hear a joke?" And I was like, "Yeah, I want to hear a joke." I don't even remember the joke, to be honest with you, but it was just such a fucking out of left field thing that he did. It killed me. I was just like, I just find him amazing. Again, I can go. Tyler from Tyler Fornes. He does the AEW podcast on the Voices of
Hungy.
Yep. What a great dude. Just a great fucking guy. And I remember Dallas, and I wasn't going to go to G1 Dallas, and it was Booze Leprechaun, who we talked a little bit about, who, again, I hope she's doing well. I haven't heard from him a million years. And him that helped arrange me to go. Like, literally paid for my fucking flight. And I thanked him a million times for that. It was just awesome. But again, just another great guy. And the whole weekend was filled with that. And yeah, so I know I'm rambling a little bit, but like that was really it. If I took away anything from that weekend, it was the fact that I got together with people that enjoy this product and want it to work, and we laugh about it, we giggle about it, we giggle about our relationships that we have and our spouses and partners who make fun of us for even, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just this common bond that we all had that was really fantastic. And I hope and pray that one day, and I know this sounds corny as corny can be, that everyone listening to this has the opportunity to share that with people in their lives. And if they don't, the invitation is always there, except you need to pay $10 for Patreon or be involved in Voices of Wrestling Network. And I told Rich this too. I made sure that I took him aside and told him this. I said, Rich, none of this. I said, I want you to look around these two suites here, and that Chris Samsa set up. Again, does a fucking unbelievable job that weekend. But I said, Rich, I want you to take a look around here. I said, everyone here is because of you and Joe and what you created. Like, would our show be as popular? Would I even think that I could do a podcast? Would I even have a connection with Joel if it wasn't for Voices of Wrestling? Would I meet all these people? Would you take a step back and recognize that the work that you did is not just you and Joe doing a great pro wrestling podcast. It's this. And nobody's getting rich doing this, but know that like the impact you've had on so many people's lives, not just the listeners, but us. And he was like, holy shit, dude, yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, I get it. I appreciate that. And there was a lot of that. There was a lot of, you know what? That was awesome, dude. I appreciate that. And I appreciated it. So there you go. That was the weekend. I would say, Joel, if you just go to Chicago just for fucking Portillo's, I'm telling you, the hot dogs were the best fucking hot dog I've ever had in my life. So good. It was just a great weekend, and I hope everyone would have an opportunity to experience it like we did.
And how was the atmosphere inside the building? Like the vibes from the crowd? Did you get the sense that it was sort of mainly New Japan hardcores, or was there like a significant proportion of AEW fans in there from what you could tell? And just what was the buzz like inside?
I think there was a decent mix. And during G1 shows, New Japan will play a video. I think it's Creed who does the song, or one of those Creed type bands is the music. When you are with me, kind of like that. I'm free. Right, something along those lines. A song like that. And they show highlights of past G1s and the winners, and they'll show like a little snapshot, and then they'll show like clips of them winning that year's G1. Ricky Choshu's and Masahiro Chono's and, even like Kenji Muto and, older guys weren't getting nearly a boo or a whistle or a cheer or whatever. And as you got later on into the Okadas and Tanahashis and Naito's, the cheers got louder, right? And the one guy who got the most cheers was Kenny Omega, right? I would say the crowd was a mix. There were definite hardcore New Japan Pro Wrestling fans. There were definite both, right? There were definite fans of both promotions. There were definite casual New Japan Pro Wrestling fans, and they're showing up in CM Punk t-shirts and wearing their titles, bringing their belts. There was a little bit of that. It was a mix. But I will say this crowd was up for everything. So as the pre-show package is run on New Japan World, the hype video, getting everybody cranked up, fans were going a little bit nutty. And Chris Charlton, you could see stand up at the booth, and he's kind of leading the cheers, hand movements and, just pumping fists. And that got the crowd even more into it. And they were raring to go from the jump. I've been to a handful of G1 shows. I've been to several in Japan, Dallas, and this one. And none of them were as vocal as this. They were just chants for G1, right? They were just chanting G1 because they were so hyped. And everything, I felt like everyone knew the spots. Like everyone, when there were reversals and kickouts of big moves, people were oohing and ahhing. I thought the crowd was fantastic. I really did. I will say this. There was one dude where we in the section we were sitting, and he's sitting in the middle of the aisle, probably about 7 rows below us. And this guy was smoking a fucking doob, right? Just out in the middle, just open up, and smoke is billowing, right? And it was the strongest fucking weed you've ever smelled in your goddamn life. And I felt bad for people. People behind him moved because it was just so, kids are there. You know what I mean? Like, I was just like, what are you doing, dude? Aside from that jerk off, I thought everyone was there and knew the assignment and were into it from the jump. Guys that you thought, they're probably not going to get cheered or got reaction. And what's really great is even deeper into the show, where you would think, okay, people they can't sustain this. Like they're going to get burnt out. And there were times where it felt like, okay, one big move and everybody was back into it. One big suplex, one whatever, people were back into it. So the crowd, I got to give an A+. Got to give a fucking A+ to the crowd because I think they helped propel that. Now, I listened to your review, and you had made mention that whoever mic'd this fucking show should be absolutely fired because trust me, that made matches even better. So if you thought matches were great, that the crowd noise put it over the top. So if that didn't translate through to New Japan World, somebody needs to get their ass handed to them because that was
it's unacceptable, isn't it? Like it's such an easy fix, or it seems to me like an easy fix anyway, because it just came across like amateur hour, and it's a shame because it's definitely taken a bit of the shine off what sounded like live was incredible, and there's no reason why that shouldn't come across to the audience watching on TV at home. And I hope now that if there is a bit more money on the table with the cyber agent and the TV Asahi maybe getting their wallets out a bit, that is something they absolutely need to fix because it's embarrassing having that Rev Pro level audio set up for a show that was outstanding. It was a brilliant show. And there should be an unequivocal celebration of how brilliant it was, but it was let down by just shitty audio setup, and that's not on.
No, that's terrible. And here's the problem with that as well, Joe. So people are sitting on their couches or wherever they enjoy the content. And what better vehicle to get people to buy a ticket? Now, again, it's not like we're in the United States very often, but you do want to feed off that. So when you do come back, people feel like, oh, I can't miss this fucking party. I ain't sitting home. I need to be there. And like it was there for the taking. Like the heavy lifting was done. All that you had to do was mic the fucking arena properly, and you'd have a slam dunk, an easy win. And to hear that that wasn't done is just such a fucking massive disappointment. Because to me, like they had a perfect storm and a great show and people working their butts off. To have that come across that way it's incredibly disappointing.
Right, just one thing I quickly want to shout out. So I got a message on Discord from Arkham Knight, who has sent me a link to a website that he has made. It's G1 Climax 36.vercel.app. So that's VERCEL.app. So this is a website where it's got one page for each of the G1 nights, and you can put your own star ratings in. There's a little kind of slider you can do, right. And it tells you the results of the match. It tells you who's won, how long the match went, what finishing move they used. And not only that, there's a page for standings, so it will give you the standings as well, so where the wrestlers are in the block, how many points they've got. And it will also curate, based on the ratings that you've put in, what your top 10 matches that you've rated so far in the tournament are.
Wow.
I've made just one slight request. If he can add something onto it to curate a list of ranking the wrestlers in each block by average star rating that you've given them, that would make this from a great website into an all-timer. But as it is, this is fucking outstanding. So again, wow. G1 Climax 36.vercel.app. That is an absolute must for me. I'm going to be using this religiously. So well done, Arkham Knight, because that is outstanding. Everyone should definitely check that out.
Arkham Knight, great job. Yeah, can you tweet out that? Can you tweet out that URL?
Absolutely, will. Yes. I'll do that now before I forget. I'm going to ask you a question first while I'm doing that.
Yes.
Let's talk attendance. So the attendance for the show was 4,133. Now let's compare that to the G1 show in Dallas in July 2019. So this was New Japan in its, a lot of people would say golden age, right? One of the best periods that the company's ever had. So that did 4,846. So only 700 fewer than that Dallas show in 2019. And that Dallas show, right? I'll read you the card there. Tamatonga Tangaloa against Shoinyo, Ren Narita and Jeff Cobb versus Shota Umino, Tomohiro Ishii, Goto and Yoshihashi versus Chase Owens and Jay White, Juice Thunder Liger, Juice Robinson and Yano against Bushi, Shingo and Naito. So even in the undercard, there's a fair few stars there.
Names. Yeah.
Then the G1 matches themselves: Lance Archer against Will Ospreay, Bad Luck Fale against Evil, Sonata versus Zack Sabre Jr., Kenta versus Kota Ibushi, and then Okada versus Tanahashi main event. So this is like a really strong card, very, very strong roster from New Japan Pro Wrestling. And, that's a solid number. And I just think, sort of by comparison, 4,133, that's really good. I think that's a really very respectable number that New Japan should be proud of.
I would agree. Again, if you're taking into consideration, one, it's probably going to be one of the higher attended G1 shows of the entire tour, right? So if you're looking at just the raw number of it, yes. Now, again, if you wanted to be negative Ned, you could and say, well, okay, what's the rent on the building? How much did it cost to fly everybody in? How much did it, for the hotel stay at the fucking renovated Comfort Inn? All of that, all the logistics and the lighting and the stage setup and all of that stuff that goes into it. Was it a profitable show? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. But
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance, all backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.
You also got to consider the fact, Joel, that so the numbers are pretty comparable. Okay. So what are we talking about? About 400, 500, maybe more that were in Dallas. Ticket prices were more expensive for this show, weren't they? Like the ringside seats were pretty crazy. And they were, that was packed. Like that floor section was packed. The two sides of the camera, the center of the ring, first level, those were full. And as you kind of wrapped around, it kind of got less and less. But then, like toward the end, so I guess the opposite of the rampway, those were pretty full. So I don't know, like if they had like discounted tickets for those sections or what have you, but those were decent. Let's put it this way: the merchandise line. This is something that I think might kind of fall under the radar, but the lines for merchandise, Joel, wrapped halfway around the fucking building. So they had a gigantic booth on one side of the arena. I didn't walk the entire concourse, and I should have videotaped this, but like the line for merch was enormous. It wrapped around the concourse. Like I kept walking to get to our suite, and I'm like, "Is this still the fucking merchandise line?" And I'm walking, and it's still the fucking merchandise line. It was they had to. I'm very curious to see a number, and I'm sure that we can find a way to get it. Merchandise number for Chicago. I promise you, they did a very sexy number just in merch alone because the line was massive. And if you figure, even if somebody buys a T-shirt at $20, and here's the thing, it didn't look like people were just buying a T-shirt; they were buying multiple things. If they had losses getting here, that chipped away at any financial losses was merch. So outstanding job by the people that set up those tables, got the merch going. The line, again, maybe it would have been better to have multiple ones. I don't know. But yeah, that line, people were wanting their shit. That's for sure.
No, we're going to obviously discuss the matches later in this specific wrestler, but I just wanted to touch on the fact that I'm aware that the crowd were red hot for Konosuke Takeshita specifically,
yes,
which tells us a bit about perhaps the AEW influence in that crowd. What do you think New Japan can learn from this with regards to the collaboration with AEW? Because I'm not going to say, oh, well, this number is all because of AEW, but there's something there, isn't there? Like without Takeshita being a star in AEW, then you wonder what that number looks like. Like what do you think New Japan can take away from that with regards to the partnership?
Well, especially for the US shows, I think let's break it down first this way. You're talking about a guy who's incredibly, incredibly talented. He looks the part. He can wrestle the part. He has the TV time, so he has the recognition factor for a lot of people who just want to turn on the TV and watch pro wrestling. So if we're talking about US-based shows, I know that there was some head scratching, like, that's kind of weird that Tsuji would go over in this spot. I agree and I disagree in the sense that, one, I think it's very important to do our best to try to make Yota Tsuji, who right now is the guy that we're depending upon to help carry this promotion, to be as strong as possible, right? I mean, and there is one way to do that, and that is to get a win over a legitimate star, to kick off G1. Now, could you have said, okay, well, let's flip the script a little bit. Let's give the star the win and send people home happy and cheering and all of that. I don't want to sit here and say that people were running toward the exits when the finish happened and booed. That wasn't the case at all. People were filing toward the exit just because it was the end of the show, and they weren't going to wait around and listen to a Japanese promo because they weren't not going to understand 98% of it, right? So they're trying to beat traffic. Get out the fucking door. I'm not going to blame them for that. I honestly thought they were going to go the way of, okay, let's give the AEW guy the win, give him his win back, and do it that way. But I'm kind of happy that they didn't. That they had. Here's what I like about it: at least they had the balls to do. They set a course and they had the balls to say, okay, nope, our champion is winning in our event. It just happens to fall in the United States.
I heard it was Yota Tsuji that insisted specifically that
was it?
He was going to win. It was originally Takeshi was booked to win, and he said, "Fuck that noise! I'm going over, or I'm going home."
That's right. That's that. I like that. I like his no fear approach. But yeah, I trust me. I think you could go both ways. I don't think, at least from my perspective, that it's not like people went home like, well, what the fuck? Like, this wasn't a situation where it was like, Naito losing to Okada at Wrestle Kingdom, where people were just looking at each other like, whoa, what? Like, that was not supposed, was that supposed, why would they, that wasn't it. It was more of 1, 2, 3, but that was a great match. That's really the what it felt like. It didn't feel like somebody let air out of the balloon. It maybe a little bit, maybe a tiny bit, but I think people were still fucking high on the match, and feeling the vibes off of that. I just think people were just like, okay, well, here comes a promo that I'm not going to fucking understand. Let me see if I can beat traffic to get the fuck out of this arena. Because really, getting out of there, and I'm not making this up, it's one road. It's really one road. So I can see where it could be a little bit of a pain in the ass getting out, but I didn't feel that there was a sense of, oh, my guy didn't win, so fuck this show. That wasn't the case.
Did it feel like a proper, authentic New Japan show to you?
It did. It absolutely did. And I think the one thing that really helped it was, one, there was no filler. Like, there wasn't, the multi-man tag matches that might litter a G1 card. It was, every match was important. For a lot of people, it was the first time seeing a lot of these guys in important singles matches. I can't stress that enough. Yet, from top to bottom, everything felt like you could have been at a random Japanese G1 show. It really did. And that's been a big complaint of mine in many times, where it feels like New Japan light or New Japan strong, and certainly not New Japan. No, this really felt like a New Japan Pro Wrestling show on U.S. soil.
Where would you like to start? Do you want to go main event backwards or start chronologically?
You know what? I think, being that we're here, I think we should probably start with the main event. Only because, well, you know what? Let's start from top to bottom. Why don't we do that? We'll save the best for last.
Okay, so you want to start with
HENARE. Yes.
Right, so Urufu Aaron winning against HENARE 9 minutes 1 second by a reverse angle slam. your thoughts. I'm not going to give my thoughts, because if you want my thoughts, then you get your wallet out. It's all there on Patreon. I mean, I'm not going to rehash my takes. You can fucking pay for that if you want to hear my takes. What did you think of it, Damon?
Well, one, and I've said this previously in the preview, what a perfect partner, right? Because HENARE is down for anything. Like HENARE should and did and was successful in leading this match, right? So again, Aaron Wolf, I wouldn't trust to go out there and work and control a match and call the spots and do all that. So HENARE's been around the block more than a few times, and he's comfortable doing that. And from what we understand, there's no issue there. The joy of that gave, it felt like, Aaron Wolf a lot of freedom and a lot of comfortability, where he could focus on things that he does very well, and maybe stretch his limbs a little bit. And I don't mean that in a literal sense. I mean more of expand, do things that maybe he wouldn't normally do. So the business end of this match picked up when he got tossed outside the ring, and that's when things really started to heat up and pick up. Aaron was still able to do a lot of his suplexes and creative suplexes, the front facing one. And HENARE's there to take every one of it. Hard hits, like there were a couple of fucking chops and strikes that you're just like, woo, wow. It just, makes your hair stand up. We have something with Aaron Wolf, dude. Like all that I really expected of was follow HENARE's lead, and he'll take us to where we need to go. And I was comfortable with that. But it even felt like Wolf was able to stretch out a little bit and do things that might not be things that he's done before in a ring. Again, he's not hitting moonsaults, mind you, but you get my point. There was a little bit more breathing room and a little bit more, and that got me even more excited about him in G1 and just seeing more of that and doing more of that. I think we have a blue chipper, dude. I really and honestly do. And I'll go so far as to say this, when it comes to HENARE. Underrated as fuck. I don't know if he'll ever really truly get his due, and I'll put that in air quotes, because nobody gets a due. But I wonder out loud where he would be without those injury setbacks and those roadblocks where you always think, boy, he's on his way and he's chugging along, and then some fucking hit of bad luck. Underrated. He'll get a vote for underrated wrestler in our year-end awards for sure.
Yeah, I think it's important that we manage our expectations with Aaron Wolf, and again, not get bogged down in the micro-analysis of how he performs on a given night, because again, as I keep reminding people, he is very, very new to this, and he's figuring it out as he's going on and learning on the job. So I find it more interesting to sort of look at what he's improving at on a sort of month-to-month basis rather than just analysing the match in a vacuum. So I think as he grows and develops, he's going to become more confident and more fluid, and things are going to become more natural to him. It's like driving a car, isn't it? When you start off learning to drive, you are thinking about each of those individual parts to it, right? Thinking, I've got to check my mirror now. I've got to look over my shoulder before I pull out. I've got to handle my clutch control. I've got to make sure my hands are in the right part of the steering wheel. And you're thinking about each of those, and it's a clunky experience. But then as you become more confident and those become second nature to you and more fluid, then you can start thinking about other things. And yeah, I'm very enthused by what I've seen so far, and I'm just really excited to see him develop as he starts to put things together. So I'm not expecting immediate match of the year candidate. So I think, even with all that being said, I think he's overperforming, given the circumstances. I'm really bullish about this kind of discourse that somehow working with House of Torture has been a negative to him. I kind of feel that the way he's performing now vindicates that decision, that he was given a sort of low risk, relatively low intensity environment to work with guys like Evil and Fale and Ren to sort of figure it out and just get used to being in high profile singles matches whilst he worked out the basics. And now he's got the basics and is sort of got that ball and is running with it. And I don't know. I still can't really agree with the people who think it would have been better for him to be wrestling the dads instead of just getting his hand on the basics. And
yeah, but
I don't know, Damon. Maybe I'm kind of trying to sort of manipulate things to fit my narrative, but where we are now with Aaron Wolf, I don't see any issues or any ill effects from him having worked that program with House of Torture. I think it's fine to say you don't like it. If you don't like it, just say, yeah, I didn't like it, but I understand it's good for his development. But the people that are sort of trying to twist that into everything about it was bad and it would have been better if they did it the way I liked, I find that disingenuous. It's okay to not like it. Just say you don't like it.
Well, I didn't like it. I'll admit. And I will go to my grave with the idea that his learning would be expedited, and I think he would learn more being in the ring with a Yuji Nagata as opposed to a Bad Luck Fale. Like to me, I feel like he would get more of solid basics under his belt as opposed to learning how to sell being choked by a rope, right? Again,
I don't think he's working with the guys like Nagata all the time in the dojo, though.
Big difference between dojo and getting out there in front of people looking at you and making connections and developing that way, as opposed to. Now, I will say this: if you're looking for a method and a vehicle to say, okay, we need to cheer you and get behind you and rally behind you. Yes, that is a more direct path with House of Torture. Absolutely. But again, I'd rather see him really get the fundamentals of the pro wrestling down in an environment with the dads, again, as opposed to learning how to sell getting choked with a rope.
But they've given him a win in his first G1 match. He's
true.
a never openweight champion. He's beaten a relatively established guy in HENARE, absolutely clean as a sheet. So I don't think you could have done that and have him wrestle against the dads whilst also trying to maintain this presentation of him like he's actually really good at pro wrestling already. Because how would you have done that? Like, he's beaten Evil, one of the top guys in the company, for the never openweight title in his very first pro wrestling match, but now he's just going to fuck around with the dads for a few months. Whereas I think they've kind of had to balance that fine line between developing him as a wrestler, but also in kayfabe presenting him as like a very good at his job already. Like he's serious. He lost to those guys because they cheated and they outnumbered and they kept him strong, blah blah blah. But he's still a protected commodity. He's never overweight champion, won his first G1 match, and I don't know if you can get to that point by saying, oh, he's just going to play grab ass with the old fellas for a few months. Do you know what I mean?
Right. I hear you. And I totally would people's opinions be different if it wasn't Fale in the end, and maybe if it was Sonata, or if it was, and again, probably wouldn't be this, but
that's what I'm talking about. Like, just say you don't like Fale, you don't like Ren Narrative. That's fine. But I think they've done what they did with him is done in a way to still make him look like a credible wrestler, even in spite of those defeats, and make it seem meaningful in the eyes of the casual New Japan fan. Because Fale is I can't believe I'm still talking about this. I should probably just move on, but I've really got to be in my bonnet about this, because I think there's a lot of revisionism going on with Aaron Wolf, and I know I have got the sole unpopular opinion in the whole fandom, but I'm convinced that I'm right, Damon, and I won't accept that it was a negative. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I'm going to move on. Second match was Jake Lee defeating Shingo Takagi. 10 minutes 14 seconds. Face break shot. Surprisingly good here. Jake Lee had his working boots on. I hope he's going to have on for the full tour. Probably not, but this was pretty good, wasn't it?
The joke was, nobody could believe the performance he put on, right? Nobody, we were shocked, and it was a nice mix. It was a mix of, hey, he's actually taking bumps, and a lot of them, and some of them were pretty heavy, and throwing in a little bit of nice little comedic timing, right? Like it was there. People were digging it. And again, the people that like him being silly got enough silliness. But the people that were hoping and praying that somehow he would find another gear got it. And the joke in the suites were, talk to me on night 6, if he still got that kind of mojo going. But at least for night 1, when everyone seemed to have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder, they went out there and did everything they could to make their 10 minutes or however long they had count. And I thought Jake Lee did an outstanding job. And quite frankly, I thought it was one of his best New Japan Pro Wrestling performances. It really, truly was. Like the entire package of it, from everything. And again, the bar I think was a little low, right? I don't think many people were sitting there thinking, okay, I need to be on the edge of my seat and make sure that I got my T-shirt and my beer before Jake Lee comes out. But he went out there and did what he could physically and smart pro wrestlingly to make this match very good. Shingo, of course, was Shingo, doing what he does best, hitting hard, fast-paced, and the people love them. Look, we love to sit here and talk about, how American fans in a lot of cases loved 5 years ago or 6 years ago or 10 years ago. That's a long time. They still are there for fucking Shingo. And here's the thing. It's not like, okay, has he taken a step back just because of age and getting dinged up and there's a lot of mileage on him? Of course, he could still fucking go. And I thought this match was very good and much better than I even expected.
And the third match was Oscar defeating Red Narrator 9 minutes 42 seconds by Nightmare Sleeper. So another debut G1 win here from Oscar. How did he come across?
There's nothing like seeing him live. I will say that. Like the dude, I don't even think it comes across on television and through the TV how massive this guy is. And I don't mean like thick, but he is a tall motherfucker. It did start out with, as what do you call it? Ouch, my leg. Right? They did do that. And trust me, I did sit back in my chair and like, oh, well, Joe called that one. Here it is. Big guy taking on little guy, and little guy's going to chop down the tree. But they found a way to make even that interesting and fun and compelling. The crowd didn't want any part of Ren. And it wasn't a disrespect, Ren, you stink. It was more of, Ren, you're a heel, and we want anyone else to win other than you because you fuck around too much with the rules.
There were House of Bullshit chants, I heard.
Yep, there certainly was. And again, he's the heel, and he's doing that, for years now to elicit that response, that kind of response. You're not going to hear that at Cork and Hall. You're going to hear that in Chicago. I thought Oscar did very well for a second. I think a lot of people were just wanting to see how they did in a singles environment, given 10, 15 minutes to go out there and put on a great match. Now, was this like the greatest match on earth? No, but I think it did show that there, even after this tag team is dead and buried, that there's something there. Like there's something there. In all cases, I think they worked a good big man versus little man match, and still made it compelling and interesting without doing every single normal trope that you would do in a match like that.
Yeah, I'm very bullish about Oscar. I think there's a tremendous amount of upside to him, and he's obviously got to go through this period now where he's establishing himself as a singles wrestler, because he's obviously been in tag spots up to this point. But again, like getting a win over Ren Narita in your debut G1 match shows me that the company are taking this guy seriously, because I wouldn't have been shocked to see him go like 1-8 or something. Yeah, or even 0-9, because like I said, all the traditional conventional New Japan booking would have had him at that point. But it's just quite exciting to see that they've pulled their finger out and they understand the assignment. And they're like, right, we've got a big crop of talented young guys here, and let's try and get multiple people established at the same time. So I was just enthused as much by the booking as I was by the performance from both guys. Ren was good as well. He played his part and made Oscar look like a monster. So yeah, it was good stuff. Fourth match then was Yuta Ice defeating Great Khan by 11 minutes 11 seconds by Cruella.
Nice. The crowd. First of all, the crowd loved Yuta Ice. Like he had the crowd, no doubt. I think people were happy to see Okan. And I think Okan was. It's weird because there are times where I think he would rather be somewhere else than in a pro wrestling ring. And then there are times that he feels like, okay, he's motivated. He's got a bug up his ass, and, something is making him do stuff that, quite honestly, it doesn't feel like him going through the motions. I will give him credit here in this and say that he was a willing combatant to help Yuta Ice get over even more. The crowd really, they have something with him, with Yuta Ice. They really do. What that might look like in the future, I don't know. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's future world champion material. But, like, of anybody on this show, it felt like he was like an over-the-top gimmick, mind you, that seems perfectly comfortable slotted in on a pro wrestling show, that didn't seem like it was an over-the-top gimmick. Does that make any sense?
The fans like him.
The fans like him, number one. Two, everything that he does elicits a reaction. Three, he's comfortable in his own skin. Like, he's not working a gimmick where it's like, he's trying to make it work. He is that, And even if he's not, he's doing an outstanding job fooling everyone, because he owns it. And I truly believe, at least in this crowd, they loved him. Okan, look, I don't know what you're going to do. I'm curious to hear what best G1 performance in the past 5 years has to say. I really am. I can't stop thinking. He's living rent free in my head. Which, good for you. Good job. You did it. Congratulations. That said, good match, solid match. Okan, I don't know what we do at this point.
Do you think in this G1 there's a risk of Yuta Ice getting exposed? Now, I'm not saying that he is a complete fraud and not a good wrestler, but he's obviously excelled in his role as being like a hot tag guy in these big tornado tag exciting matches where his opponents are flying around the ring and making him look great, and he's been the focus of all the tag matches. I think it's fair to say that, and just everyone has been working overtime to make him look like a star. Whereas this is a different assignment entirely, and whilst I love his charisma and energy, the gimmick, everything, and I think he ticks a lot of the boxes, he's just got great instincts as a pro wrestler. The bell-to-bell stuff, I'm not sure how good he is, especially when compared to a lot of his peers, a lot of other guys in this tournament. So do you share my slight worries that he might get found out a bit in terms of being perhaps lacking between the bells?
Yeah. I mean, but I think I would hold some reservations with a lot of guys. And I think that's what's making things exciting. Like, I do want to see how he manages with guys that don't have a ton of experience and what those matches will look like. And even guys, just in a one-on-one environment with people that, he's never wrestled before in a ring. And maybe in a multi-man tag match, they've had some interactions, but there's a big difference between that and going 15 minutes. So I let's put it this way. I don't think the gimmick itself is limiting him. Like, I don't think he's going to be handcuffed into doing shit that, feels awkward or whatever. Like, I feel like that allows him his gimmick allows him to explore a lot of different methods and means that maybe we haven't seen yet. So I don't know. He's never been put in that environment. Am I worried about it? Yes, but I'm worried about that with everyone when they're put in situations where it's like, okay, it's you and another person, time to shine. Do I have trust that he has that in him? I do. I have trust in that until I see otherwise. And we're going to see. This is what the excitement part for me, anyway, of this G1 specifically is okay. Today you have Shingo. Tomorrow you have whomever. It's that's the excitement of, okay, what are you going to do night 6 against Sonata? How are you going to make that work? That's what I find interesting.
To be fair, he's probably got his worst opponent out of the way early here. Well, we have seen some good stuff in singles match as well. Who's you wrestled? I seem to recall him having a really good match with Yuya Uemura. I think he'll be fine, actually. I think I'm perhaps over-indexing this match against a guy who's clearly checked out. But yeah, it'll be interesting just to really sort of test the range that Yuta Ice has as a singles performer. So let's say excited rather than worried there. Okay, fifth match then we had Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Shota Umino 60 minutes, 10 seconds via Zack Driver.
Great match. Really was fun. First, Zack, he's gotten all the flowers as it is, but talk about a guy that people were just jacked up to say. Like people felt, look, I sit here and I do hand wave a lot. The idea of, oh, they're on TV. Whoopity fucking. It's important because the people that are on TV in the States probably got some of the louder applause and cheers. Now, again, Zack has spent years in New Japan. I mean, he's a former world champion. He's a former G1 winner. He's, New Japan Cup. So he has a resume for people to know who he is and be excited to see him. And I think a lot from an American standpoint, there is a absolute connection with him just being a total fucking prick. People love that. It's and especially an intelligent prick. People can dig that. Shota, he's getting there. And at our meetup, there were lots of people who were on that Shota winning this tournament. I think people in the arena it wasn't a bad reception at all. It was a very good reception. And I think, again, him losing kind of reinforces the fact that he's going on. New Japan loves the idea of, okay, people that you may not expect get, wins in the beginning, and then people need to have the struggle story of losing in the beginning and then finding ways to fight back and get in the mix in the finals and so forth. No, I thought this match was outstanding. The crowd was into it. People. One thing that was really cool was I don't think people necessarily picked sides. They cheered maybe a little bit louder for people in their entrances, but as matches got going, they were pulling for underdogs, or they were pulling for guys to kick out and continue fighting. They were cheering for, maybe the guy that they might not have been cheering for loudly during the entrances, which was nice. Shota's your guy. And I think that each and every one of these matches and each and every one of these bigger shows where he's putting things together and things are like this is a very different Shota Umino on this Chicago show than even a year ago. And imagine, taking this one and 2 years ago, like the growth is substantial. And I think that it's coming together and starting to click for him. And being in the ring with like incredibly talented pro wrestlers help, but like it's coming together. And I think people are recognizing that and maybe slower than what the company had expected, but people are coming around to him. And if a Yankoid audience of 4,000 in Chicago is any indication that this is the case, watch this, and hopefully the crowd is mic'd properly because people were with him. And that, I think, it was one of the more important things. And the fact that when that match is over, people are looking at each other like, okay, that was fucking great. That was really good. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. And it may have felt slow in the beginning. It's coming at a rapid pace right now.
Yeah, Joel from 18 months ago says, yeah, thank you. Welcome aboard.
Well, all right. Listen, we all know that you are the groundbreaker and the you're the one driving the train and people hop on the train. And I'll be the first to admit there have been plenty of times where you've been driving a train and I've been running, catching the doors with my fingertips, prying it open, trying to get in on the train. I'm on board.
Sixth match was Hiroki Goto defeating Sanada, 12 minutes, 4 seconds. I did have a question on Twitter from Dr. Larry who says who had the best outfit at this show, but it's not even close.
Not even close. We popped. We absolutely popped. And just the preposterous nature of it. It was so fucking over the top that it was great. Like that fucking disco ball gold outfit and this massive, the best way to describe it is a sombrero-ish, but like in gold sequin. It was enormous and unbelievably Sanada. And it people were just couldn't get enough of it. Now, we thought, well, that's where it ends, right? That's where the bell rings, and maybe that's the bathroom break. Maybe this is go get another beer or a soda pop, whatever you want, right? Joel, Sanada, probably working hurt, probably, not 100% physically there, went out there and did shit. Like Joel, what is it? What was the 12 minutes did they go? Maybe 15? Mm-hmm. How many off the top rope flips, moonsault, just knee damaging things did he do in this match? Like we were just like, what the fuck is he doing? He took bumps. Joel, the man took bumps. He did one bump. Was he like on the apron, the outside, where we just like, what the fuck? No clown shoes.
Do this for the Yankoid Sanada. Jeez,
save yourself. Of all people,
you don't deserve it.
No, we've shit on you for a good solid year. He came out. He delivered, like truly delivered. After this show, there were a couple people that stood out to me, and a couple of them later on in the show we'll talk about. But I threw flowers. My instant reaction was throwing flowers at guys like Jake Lee and Sanada, where you went in expecting nothing, and you got delivered some really good fucking shit. Really good shit. Like Sanada trying, and Sanada, I don't know, motivated, chip on shoulder, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Like it was refreshing that, and I can't sit here like nobody deserves nothing. Don't get me wrong, but he could have easily phoned that fucking thing in. Of all nights, he could have phoned it in, and he didn't. And I gotta tip my yellow sequined hat that I had to buy. I got tailor made. I'm wearing in the office, if I go in. He went out there and did his best, and that was appreciated. We loved it, absolutely.
7th match: Callum Newman defeating Yuya Uemura 50 minutes 42 seconds. Make way.
Awesome. Just really, Callum Newman. I don't understand people. I don't understand people. How that people can just hand wave him. How people can dismiss him. Like, he truly is a talented fucking pro wrestler that we have under our banner. Like, fantastic. Yuya, once again, a star in the making. I really loved this match. This had elements of Japanese hard hitting pro wrestling plus heel face and like uber heel, uber baby face elements that were in there and intertwined perfectly. Enough grit and sandpaper. That fucking guy, when he did that dive into the chairs, again, this is a guy he's selling an arm injury. He's, apparently banged up pretty. He's hurting. He's feeling it. Doing crazy shit like that and putting his body on the line. That brought everybody. Well, I mean, you can see it coming, and we're like, is he going to sprint and fucking? And then here he goes outside the ring and into just a pile of fucking chairs that, if I'm not mistaken, those chairs were all intertwined together. Like, they weren't like regular folding chairs. They were like, kind of like zip tied together. So there wasn't a lot of wiggle room on those. I could be wrong, but it looked like he hit fucking hard. And again, the match itself I thought was excellent. Really fucking fantastic. One talented guy in Callum Newman who is underappreciated and is a top guy that people want to hand wave, but are idiots if they do. And then you have a guy who, again, super talented, who's coming into his own and doing the hardest thing in pro wrestling there is to do, and being an ultra baby face and still having credibility and not looking hokey or corny or what have you. It was funny because I was sitting next to Andrew Rich the whole show, and I was saying, I'm going to say something really dumb here, which is par for the course, but I'm going to say something really dumb. I loved what do they call it? His colorway, like his the trunks and it was like he looked like a fucking icy. It looked great. I loved it. I loved the colors on the trunks and the outfit. I loved it. But the match itself was fucking great. Yeah, I mean, what more? I can't gush over this match hard enough.
Yeah, I absolutely loved it as well. And I just like the different levels that the guys took it to. Like, we got angry, pissed off Yuya in this one.
Yeah.
Those are the best kind of Yuya matches. Like, he was hot and fired up and just really going after Callum Newman in quite a sadistic way. And I like that. I like the way that these guys can go to different gears. So yeah, more of that, please, from Yuya Uemura. 8th match was Yuya Uemura defeating Oleg Boltin, 13 minutes 28 seconds via arc clutch. I saw a lot of people absolutely raving about this match. I thought it ended quite abruptly when I felt it had more time and a few more gears to get through. What did you think?
It did. It was a lot of suplexes, a lot of hard-hitting stuff, and then a tap out that was super quick, which kind of was shocking and jarring because I don't think that anyone was ready for it. Like, if you blinked your eye, you missed it. And trust me, there were people, all around us that looked up and like, what happened? They probably did have another gear. And again, I think a lot of people going into this match were like if there was a match on the show, people were kind of like, okay, let's see what we have. To me, you knew what you were getting in this match in the sense of hard hitting suplexes, etc. Blah blah blah. So for me to sit here and say I would love to see a little bit more range, I don't know. Maybe that would fall on deaf ears. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more range. That said, I loved the finish. I loved the fact that we could end this thing at any moment. And if we're taking this seriously, yeah, of course, you get caught in an armbar, or an arm submission, and you feel that either I have to tap or I'm going to lose my arm and I'm out for the rest of the fucking tour, I'm tapping. And that's exactly what happened. He got caught. He made a rookie mistake, wasn't protecting himself, locked up, locked in, and I got no other choice but to tap. And it happened super quick, and there wasn't no closing stretch and that we're all accustomed to. And then we're all like conditioned to be like, okay, well, I guess we're getting into the brass tacks of the fucking, nope, this is it. We're done. He got caught and we're done. So that was refreshing. Like, you don't need to have every match have the same formulatic, we need to kick out of 900 finishing. Nope. Got caught tapping out because I need to fight another day. I love that. Loved it. Did they have another gear? I think they did. But I'm okay if they said, okay, this is the finish. This is what we're going to go with. And it's just going to come out of fucking nowhere. I'm good with that. I'm really happy with that.
And then the main event, Yota Tsuji defeating Konosuke Takeshita, 20 minutes, 52 seconds via Fire Blaster.
Look, this delivered as a main event, G1 opening night. I don't think there was a person who left that arena that was disappointed in any fashion of this match. The crowd was pumped. And again, we had 2 hours of wrestling under our belt, and it was nonstop. There was no intermission. They just went and went and went and went. And then they finished with this in a match that had everything that you could want in pro wrestling. It had the stakes. It had the stars. It had the motivation of a main event of the world champion going against the star of the show, in a lot of people's eyes. And they went out there and they delivered. Lest anyone think that Yota Tsuji is not the guy in this company and can't have great matches. Well, I'm going to hand you this match on a silver fucking platter and say, please watch, because he delivered once again. He delivered. And I truly believe that the success of this show was dependent upon him not only looking like a star, but being a star. And in the fans' eyes in that building, it felt like he was a star. It wasn't like we were building to a star. It was like he was a star. Now, again, you can argue that, your AEW counterpart would have, more cheers. Probably did. Would have more recognition. Maybe. Debatable. But when all was said and done, not only did he start the match feeling like a star, he ended the show feeling like a star. Like, everything in the middle helped solidify that. He's a star. He is a star. Now, you might argue, you know what? He's not at the level of X or Y or Z or guy from 10 years ago or guy from 15 years ago. Okay. Can we give it some fucking room to breathe? Can we give it some time? And I guarantee you that if Yota Tsuji does what he has been doing and continues to do what he has been doing, you have a star. You have a star right now. And it's not this massive supernova, but you have a star. And Chicago, the people let that building, I'm telling you, if I stuck a microphone in their face and said, what did you think of that match? They would say it was great. And I'm sure a lot of them would be glowing in the favor of their AEW star. Every one of those people walked out of that building and thought Yota Tsuji was a star. Promise you that. Promise you that.
So what would you say your sort of overall headlines are coming out of the event?
Let's keep the momentum going. We started off fantastic, better than expectations. It's going to be hard to keep the momentum going, probably. I can't wait till the weekend. I can't wait till Saturday. I want to see. I want to see what's next. I want to see the next show. That's the worst part about it.
Next, shall I?
Yeah.
So we've got. I'll just do the block matches. So this is Saturday in Hokkaido. Fourth match. We got the match that we would have had in Chicago were it not for visa issues. It's Drilla Maloney versus Gabe Kidd, Great-O-Khan versus Sanada, Takeshita versus Jake Lee, Oleg Boltin against Yuta Ice, Shingo versus Oiwa, and Goto versus Tsuji.
That's the main event, right? Go to Tsuji, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, and then they follow that up with a Sunday show, don't they?
Correct. So the Sunday show we have got same venue. It's Shota versus Aaron Wolf. That's a fascinating match. Drilla versus HENARE, Oscar versus Gabe Kidd, Newman versus Ren, and Yuya versus Zack.
Come on. Look.
Pants down. Pants down.
Pants fucking down. I don't know how you can't be excited. If you're a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan, how can you not be excited by that? So yeah, I think A+ on the show. They hit a home run. The crowd was there. Keep the momentum going. It's a fascinating G1 for me, and yeah, again, my biggest disappointments were things that I didn't even experience. It's the miking of the arena. Okay, I'm sure that'll be better in Japan. I really didn't have a complaint. Look, again, I've spent countless weeks taking this promotion and dissecting it and just the disappointment and the negativity and my vibes are fucking sky high. And this show really, and again, it was everything. Not only was it the show. Look, if you live in fucking Iceland and you're watching this show, I feel like you saw a really fucking good show. Being there really put it over the top. Ride the momentum, New Japan. Come on, let's go.
Let's fucking go. See you next time.
We're done?
Done.
Oh.
Wrestling Omakase brings you a full course meal of all of Japanese wrestling, men's and women's. Join me, a Japanese wrestling fan for over 20 years, along with a rotating cast of equally knowledgeable co-hosts as we cover everything from New Japan and Stardom to Noah, All Japan, DDT, Tokyo Joshi, Mari Gold, Sendai Girls, Dragon Gate, GLEAT, Ice Ribbon, and even more stuff. If you're a fan of Japanese wrestling and you want coverage of the entire scene in one podcast, check us out right here on the Voices of Wrestling Podcasting Network each and every week. Get us wherever you get podcasts today.
Most people don't realize how much their personal information is being bought and sold every day. Data brokers are making billions, pulling details about you from public records and the internet, and then packaging and selling it, usually without your consent. That's how your information lands in the hands of scammers, spammers, even stalkers. It's why you get endless robocalls and why ads seem to follow you everywhere. That's where Aura comes in. Aura actively removes your data from broker sites and keeps it off. They also instantly alert you if your information shows up in a breach or on the dark web. But Aura goes beyond data protection. With one app, you get a VPN, antivirus, password manager, spam call protection, dark web monitoring, and even up to $5 million in identity theft insurance. All backed by 24/7 US-based fraud support. Other companies might sell just credit monitoring or just a VPN. Aura gives you all of it, together, at the same price competitors charge for just one service. Start your free trial today at aura.com/remove. Protect yourself now at aura.com/remove.